And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of Tech and Future Talk here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. My name is Keedy Owato, aka The Conscious Rasta. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific Time, that's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you. And we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Thursday, the 21st of October, 2024 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we have realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the seventh millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and livinginblack.com. Welcome to all of you in our listening audiences. Welcome to our Facebook Live family. We are here. To our You Now family, it's always a pleasure to be with you every day, all day long, for the most part. Our TuneIn app streams all day long as well, and we are live today on YouTube as well. And our main streaming site, Rumble. Rumble does not censor, and we're very, very grateful for Rumble for being the free speech. You Now does not censor. So it is an honor and a pleasure to be with you. Here's what we have on the table for today's discussion. I hope you find this to be a compelling dialogue, a compelling topic. And let me give you a description of what is today's program. We are focusing on the research report entitled Global Trends 2040, a More Contested World. Today on LIB Radio, Global Trends 2020, A More Contested World is a report published by the National Intelligence Council that outlines potential global trends and challenges over the next 2 decades. Today, we share the most impactful revelations from the report. These revelations highlight the multifaceted nature of future global dynamics and the importance of strategic foresight in addressing potential challenges. So I went to, as I do quite often, I went to 4 search engines, AI search engines from Ecopilot, Ecosia, DuckDuckGo, and Brave. Ecosia, Copilot, DuckDuckGo, and Brave. I went to these 4 search engines and I looked for these particular challenges that are upcoming. So bear with me one second while I just do a little bit of housekeeping in the background. And let's go right into the report for today. I welcome you, our listening audience, wherever you're listening from. If you can I just ask you to take a second or two and type in the chat just a word. You might want to say greetings. You might want to tell us where you're from. Are you a new listener to the program? I hope you've already bookmarked us and are following along with us on a regular basis. Interactivity with you, the listening audience, is for me one of the great pleasures of doing what I do. So let's go into this report. We're looking at Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. What are 10 of the most impactful revelations of the report, Global Trends 2040, a more contested world? Here's what came back. Here are 10 of the most impactful, not 10, there's actually more than 10. Here are the most impactful ones. And I'll number them so we can tell how many we have been shared Number one on the list, and these are in alphabetical order, so not necessarily order of priority. I would suggest take them all 10 together. Don't prioritize any one over the other. Protect yourselves from all 10 of them. You know, my new book coming out is entitled Disaster Preparation for World Wars 5 and 6, and could very well likely be this will be added as a chapter to that book. It makes good sense to me. Number one on this list, cyber threats. Cyber security threats will become more sophisticated, posing risks to critical infrastructure and personal data. The increasing reliance on digital infrastructure raises concerns with potential for state and non-state actors to exploit vulnerabilities. Cyber threats are anticipated to grow, impacting national security, economic stability, and personal privacy. That's number one. Number two on this list of impacts affecting the world of 20 years from now. Number two, demographic shifts. And you've heard us on LIV Radio talk a lot about the importance of comprehending demographic shifts. Aging populations in developed countries and youthful bulges in developing regions will create diverse challenges and reshape global economic and political landscapes, influencing labor markets and social stability. Impacts on military capabilities will be significant for countries with younger populations. Aging developed countries will experience labor shortages, and job scarcity might generate social unrest in some regions with large youth bubbles. Number three on our list, and let me know if there's any one of these that strikes a heart with you, that you recognize, that you see would be a challenge over the coming decades. Please do weigh in. I'd love to hear your opinion. It really does matter. Number three on this list, economic inequality. Growing economic disparities within and between countries could lead to social tensions, migration challenges, and political instability, affecting governance and public trust. And I think we can already see that this is a high priority element, especially in the United States, as a major factor impacting the election that has just taken place was migration, and a major factor impacting that level of migration is undeniably international economic inequality. Number four on this list, environmental challenges. Climate change and environmental degradation will pose significant challenges affecting food security, water availability, and human health. Increasing pressure from climate change will exacerbate resource scarcity, migration, and conflict. The report highlights the significant impact of climate change on global stability, with potential for increased resource scarcity, migration, and conflict over water and food. And yes, we would love to think that we as humans could get beyond this particular point, spending so much resources, still engaging in war, conflict, imperialist exploitation, trying to hold on to empires when the era of empires has long passed practicality in the world. Nonetheless, we have these challenges of which Mother Nature, the very environment, is saying, well, if y'all can't get along, let me show you who has dominance. I live in Las Vegas, and this is the hottest year recorded in this city, in this state, in this western region of the United States, the hottest year recorded since they've been keeping these data. And Las Vegas, the city, experienced its hottest recorded day ever this year. So something's happening climate change denialists. Don't let them interrupt our collective progress, our collective responsibility. We're up to number 5 of these existential challenges or major challenges pointed out in this document, Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. Number 5, the erosion of democratic norms. There is a concern about the degradation of the norms of liberal democracy. And the rise of fascist or pseudo-fascist authoritarianism in various regions will affect global governments. And this is something we got to take serious. We have just seen the re-election to a second term of Donald Trump in the United States. He will be inaugurated in mid-January and has made some promises, some threats, some pledges that have a lot of people really quite worried about the direction that the failing, descending U.S. empire will take in the world and domestically. There is great reason to be concerned, I can assure you that. But I can also assure you this, had the other party won, the Democrats, they were going to be equally as dangerous and threatening. Just as I speak today, the President of the United States has just authorized its proxy military, Ukraine, to use longer range ballistic missiles against Russia, which is armed with intercontinental nuclear missiles capable of one missile, capable of delivering 10 warheads on various regions of the United States. This is way, way too dangerous to have these old cold warrior senile elements of leadership in place. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. We're up to number 6, and you may disagree. If you do disagree, I'd love to hear from you. If you do agree, if you think I'm on track with today's analysis, this is all scientific futurism today, then do hit the like button. Drop a note. We'd love to hear from you. For the number of listeners I have right now, I can see just on the Rumble page, we have some listeners there. But yet no one is hitting the like button. I'd love it to have your interactive, engaging feedback. You do matter. You do matter. I promise you, you do. Let's go forward. We're up to, I think that was number 6. We're up to number 6 right now. Number 6 of these trends pointed out in Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. Number 6, geopolitical competition. Intensified rivalry among major powers will lead to a more fragmented and contested international system. The report anticipates a rise in geopolitical tensions between major powers like the United States / NATO. I would say United States / I'm abbreviating, adding to theirs, / NATO, versus, they say, and China, I would say versus China / BRICS plus. So let me reread that. The report anticipates a rise in geopolitical tensions between major powers like the U.S. / NATO versus China / BRICS plus, which could reshape global alliances and influence. And I could take that word out, could out, and put in will, and is now reshaping global alliances and influence. Again, this report, Global Trends 2040, has been out for, I believe, 2 years. They release this report every 4 years. Number 7 on our list of highlights from the report, and the report is 156 pages long. I actually have it up on my desktop. Let me just double check where is it? That's not it. I have it up on my desktop here somewhere. Global Trends 2040, a more contested world, 156 pages long. So there may be part of this that we want to look forward to. We can always pull that up, have it in the background. Number 7. In fact, here, while I have it in the background, let me just let you see the cover of the book while I'm talking what's in the book. Let me present the cover. Share a screen. That screen is the window called Global Trends. Here it is right here. Add this to the stage. You don't need to see my big head on the screen. I do see you in the house. Brother Rue Trackers is in the house. Greetings, peace, and blessings. First time listening. What a joy. What a joy to have you with us. We're looking over the horizon. I am a scientific futurist, the author of 53 published books. I have 2 more books coming out this year, and I've just inserted another book that's going to be out very early in the next year because it's that time we kind of pick up the pace again. Root Trackers, Aquaba, welcome. Craig Stevens is in the house. Been listening for some time. Greetings from New Jersey, Nana, Kwame Craig. Kwame Craig was my guest yesterday. We had the 3 Kwame speak. And Brother Kwame, Nana Kwame, had just returned from his first visit to the motherland. No, not to the motherland. First visit to Ghana, and came back with an awesome, inspiring report about he and his brother and another group of associates traveled together along with family members. What an awesome report. I salute you, my dear brother. He said, very reminiscent of the warnings of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. She did talk about demographics. And he said, therein lies the heart of the matter. Demographics. Yeah, I do agree completely. Great to have you in the house today. And thank you for sharing your thoughts and weighing in. I'm greatly appreciative. We go forward. We're up to number 7, governance challenges. Weak governance and corruption will undermine stability and development in many regions. And I completely agree. Weak governance and corruption. That includes corporate corruption and the growing stronger governance of the globalists. I think I have that on this list as well. Yeah, I do see that coming up in a second. Number 8 on the list, health crises, plural. The ongoing and future impact of pandemics and health challenges will continue to test worldwide preparedness and resilience and shape global interactions and priorities. It is also these declarations of pandemics and tactical moves said to be in counter of these pandemics is undeniably like cybersecurity infringing upon our national and personal space. I'm not going to be dealing with that in depth today, as I am streaming today live on YouTube, and YouTube is very sensitive about what you say about health that they disagree with, and they censor us. I will only say this much. Listen to LIB radio again and again. I promise you, when it comes to cutting edge, natural health related and health defense, functional medicine, prevention medicine, I got your back. I got your back like nobody else has got your back. I pledge to you, I promise to you, I will not let you down. I will not lie to you. Everything I say that's going to be controversial, I promise you, I will share with you peer-reviewed health medical research to validate everything I say. I'm going to leave that point right now because I don't want today's video to be flagged and tagged the way they do. Number 9, migration pressures. Increased migration driven by conflict, economic opportunity, and climate change, will create challenges for both sending and receiving countries and reshape many nations' demographic and social dynamics. And I will say this much, I'll add to that: coastal housing in vulnerable in countries vulnerable to climate change flooding will contribute to the problems plural of migration. Let me repeat that whole thing since I typed in and expanded that. Migration pressures number 9. Increased migration driven by conflict, economic opportunity, and climate change will create challenges for both sending and receiving countries and reshape many nations' demographic and social dynamics. Coastal housing in countries vulnerable to climate change flooding will contribute to the problems of migration. I do see another comment here from our dear brother Nana Kwame. The global superpowers are probing each other's strengths and weaknesses via proxy wars that are being waged in the so-called quote unquote Middle East. I like the way you think, brother. And Asia. This is a precursor to direct conflict, which is inevitable. And I agree with you 100%. You and I are undeniably in sync with this idea you just expressed. And did you see the news headlines of the last 24 hours? Biden okays Ukraine to use the long-range ballistic missiles that the U.S. gave them. I believe they fired off about 8 of them within the last 24 hours, one of which was not intercepted by the Russians' missile defense systems. One hit. And I don't know more details about that. I just heard a brief news on that this morning as I was waking up, getting my exercises in. But Russia now is threatening. In fact, I think Russia did launch one long-range ballistic missile, and it did impact in Ukraine. And that's just off the top of my head. I don't have research details on these stories, and I always like to pull up and verify these things. But this is just what I remember from the broadcast. So there is reason to be concerned today. And Nana Kwame says, yes, he did see that story. Let's continue. We continue. We got a beautiful presentation today on how you and I can collaborate, coordinate, and create a better world. But I tell you, we're going to have to take power back from these globalist elitists. Those of you who listened to the program before we went on the air today, I was playing some audio video of Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum saying some extremely risky, dangerous, threatening things about how the population, especially the new election, the new incoming presidency of Donald Trump, poses a big threat to the interests of the global elite in the World Economic Forum. Yeah, I don't cuss. That MF word tried to jump in the middle of my sentence, and I am not going to say that word. But that's what that guy is actually saying. I played the audio, and I'm going to play it throughout the day. I'll play it at least once or twice during the day from Jimmy Dore, who is broadcasting. You can see him on the WBAI family, the Pacific and New York family, Jimmy Dore broadcast. And he played excerpts from Klaus Schwab speaking. These people are extremely, extremely dangerous. We're up to number 9 or number 10, which is exactly what I've just been ranting about. The rise of non-state actors. The World Economic Forum is a non-state actor. The Bilderberger Group, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations. These are non-state actors, but they're very, very powerful. The rise of non-state actors, including multinational corporations and terrorist organizations, and sometimes it's hard to see which is which, will play a more prominent role in global affairs. Is this good? I don't necessarily think it's good at all. Number 11, shifts in economic power. There is a predicted shift in economic power towards Asia, with countries like China and India playing increasingly significant roles in the global economy. And I will add to that as well BRICS related infrastructures, BRICS, BRICS, BRICS Plus, because BRICS Plus is now bigger than BRICS. They added 5 new members to BRICS. They added Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, United Arab Emirates, and they also added 2 more, one of which Saudi Arabia is kind of dangling in the middle, and they added Argentina, but Argentina refused and decided, hey, I'm going to stick with my buddies, the Germans, the Americans, the British, and NATO. So, Argentina is a whole nother story. We did cover in one of our earlier broadcasts about how Argentina eliminated its African population. This took place in the 19th century. Argentina, at one point in Argentina's evolution, had a population estimated to be 57% people of African heritage because of the enslavement of Africans in Argentina. But as of recent, Argentina's population of African descent is estimated to be at about 3%. Well, what happened to nearly half of the nation's population? It was genocide, and it wasn't just outright track them down and shoot them down. It was a combination of disease, disproportionate impact by wars, using the blacks as gristle, where they say gristle or meat grinding them. And it was a number of things, but Argentina is not on my list of cool countries at all because of its background, its history and genocide, and its ongoing, extremely polarized, color-based hierarchy. I'm going to leave it at that. We're up to number 11. I started writing on number 11 and got a little distracted. Shifts in economic power. There is a predicted shift in economic power towards Asia, with countries like China and India playing increasingly significant roles in the global economy. I would add that China, Korea, South Korea, and Singapore, among others, Indonesia. Now, this is based upon our expanded knowledge. I can promise you, I have the report Global Trends up here, and if we go into this Global Trends report and pull up the term Indonesia, Indonesia is undeniably an important country in the global affairs of the next 2 decades. I promise you that. It has the largest Muslim population in the world. After the United States, Indonesia is the 4th most populous nation in the world. There's a lot of dynamic there of Indonesia. We continue, and even the word Indonesia, obviously named by outsiders. If we look into the details of how Indonesia got its name, got its designation, it was essentially the Dutch Asian Empire. And Japan removed the Dutch from Indonesia during the second global conflagration called World War II. Oh, there's a lot of details in there. You're going to read about a lot of that in my upcoming book, Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6, part of which we're talking about today. Let's go forward. We're up to number... Oh, I keep going and not finishing my sentence. That BRICS Plus is rewriting The global financial exchange system and contributing to the decline of the US dollar in world financial transactions. Now, the US dollar is a fiat currency. So this devaluation of the dollar as a fiat currency and international exchange has major, major ramifications for global economic dynamics for the future. I mean, that could be a whole program just on itself. We've actually done a program on what will be the long-term impact of the dollar's devaluation in global currency exchange. We're up to number 12 of this list, extracted from Global Trends 2040, A More Contested World. Number 12 on the list is technological advancements and disruptions. Rapid technological progress, including artificial intelligence and biotechnology, will transform economies, societies, and security, leading to opportunities, challenges, and new vulnerabilities. These changes are expected to impact military capabilities with increased challenges to privacy, security, and governance. And just look at the impact we're seeing now with the conflict taking place between Ukraine and Russia. The widespread use of unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, the introduction now into more common warfare of ballistic missiles, and the introduction now in this conflict of hypersonic missiles. Hypersonic missiles said to move so fast and at such a high altitude that they cannot be stopped by conventional missile systems. Hypersonic missiles and drones are a major escalation in the century of warfare escalation that really begins, in my analysis, with World War I, the Great War. Ever escalating military technologies. And it's sad, it's tragic, that the brilliant minds of humanity still keep putting so much of their creative, innovative brilliance into more sophisticated and deadly means of killing human beings. The Israeli Defensive Forces have deployed shooter drones. And this story, I didn't catch this story in depth, and it's a very disturbing story, is that I believe it was reported that the Israelis in northern Gaza will go through and bomb out an entire block of homes and hospitals and businesses, bomb out an entire block, and then send in shooter drones for the people who come in and try and do rescue efforts and or emerging from under the crumbled buildings. The Israeli Defense Forces sending in shooter drones to shoot the people dead, including shooting children in the head. Now, if you ask me right now, Kitty, that's shocking, prove it. I will say, give me 24 hours to prove that. I could, real quickly, maybe if I have a little time today, let me see. Is Israel, I'll just ask in the background. I'm not even going to answer it right now, but I'm going to put this up. Is the IDF deploying shooter drones in Gaza? That's the question. Let me copy the question, and I usually a question like that. Here's the first headline comes up. This is where I heard the story. NPR. Witnesses say Israel is using sniper drones in Gaza and they're shooting civilians. This is from NPR last week. British surgeon Nizam Mahmood testified in front of a committee in the UK. That's a very, very important story. The second headline from NPR is Israel using new deadly military technology in Gaza. Third headline from the Times of Israel, in apparent first, IDF deployed drone swarms in Gaza fighting. They didn't say that these drone swarms were sniper drones. From the Jerusalem Post, IDF is using unmanned M113s in Gaza. M113 is part of a new technology in the Gaza war. And from someone who's not an Israeli source, witnesses say Israel is using sniper drones in Gaza. And this is from kgou.org. Has been NPR collecting eyewitness accounts from Gaza that corroborate Mr. Mahmoud's testimony, saying Israeli military has been using sniper drone technology and they're shooting civilians. So just as I reported, without citing, without really knowing that I heard the story correctly, now I have that citation and I'm just going to share it with you and you check it out. For those of you listening right now, just real quickly, I'm going to share this story. I can put it up on my Facebook page. I put it up for our You Now family. And where is you is? Oh, okay. In fact, for the broadcast, you see the very same story that I was looking at. Witnesses say Israel is using sniper drones in Gaza and they're shooting civilians. So you see it. Here is the link to it. That is up there. And let me go back to, well, actually, no, I'll just leave that in the background. It's controversial. It detracts slightly away from what I'm talking about. And what I am going to do is just put that link here in this report that I'm actually saving to my hard drive. This report will be available. Sometimes people call me to do interviews on other shows, and depending on what the topic is, I will pull up these notes that I use for my daily broadcast and have them in the background. So when people listen to me talk, they say, dang, that brother sure knows a whole lot and knows what he's talking about and cites sources. Well, it's not that I'm cheating. This is just my methodology of firming the information that I share with you. We're up to number 13 on this list. And again, I requested from 4 different search engines, give me 10 highly critical points from this document entitled Global Trends 2040, A More Contested World. So some of them overlapped, but some of them did not overlap. So this one, number 13, is urbanization. Continued urbanization will strain infrastructure and resources in the developing world, but also drive innovation and economic growth in the same region. Will strain infrastructure and resources across the developing world, including the developed world as well. I mean, we are seeing the high level of population density and urbanization in places like Philadelphia is extremely stressful. Extremely stressful. And that's not, I guess, no, Philadelphia is not a developing city. Let me reread this. Number 13, urbanization. Continued urbanization will strain infrastructure and resources across the developing world, but also drive innovation and economic growth in the same regions. I'm satisfied with that statement. So that took us through those 10. I was copying, cutting, and pasting and moving these. And so I came up with another one, health security. The pandemic has underscored the importance of global health security with implications for future preparedness and international cooperation. I'm scared of that. I really, truly am scared of what they're proposing for preparedness and international cooperation. Next, the erosion of democracy. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Shifts in global governance. Traditional institutions may struggle to address emerging global challenges, leading to calls for reform or the creation of new frameworks for cooperation. Well, we do see under BRICS Plus is challenging the current structure of the Bretton Woods institutions like the UN, World Bank, IMF, and NATO. So that's a key important shifts in global governance. I'm going to have to copy, cut, and paste that one up into the larger list, which was 13. Now it's going to be 14. And shifts in governments. Let me put this at the end so we can keep these in a numerical sequence. So that is that one. And then there was one more here from DuckDuckGo that I didn't put into the list, and I think it needed to be where is it? Resilience and adaptation. The report emphasizes the need for societies to build resilience and adaptability in the face of complex and interconnected global challenges. I think that one is important, but that may be already on the list. These were in alphabetical order. No, there was no resilience. So I'm going to go ahead and push this one up. And these will be out of alphabetical order. But if this makes it to a book, and I think this is going to go into the upcoming book, Disaster Preparedness. I think this will be a chapter of the book. So we're using scientific futurism. Lastly, I asked the same question of 4 different ones, and I was only able to merge 3 of them together. The 4th one is BRAVE. Based upon the provided search results, this is AI search I use for all 4 of these: BRAVE, Copilot, Ecosia, and DuckDuckGo. BRAVE said here are 10 impactful revelations from the report Global Trends 2040, a More Contested World. They are: number 1, demographic shifts. We talked about that. Number 2, climate change. Physical effects of climate change will intensify during the next 2 decades, disproportionately affecting developing countries and poorer regions. Key technologies to watch include green hydrogen, small modular nuclear reactors, SMRs, advanced energy storage, and solar photovoltaic and wind-powered plants. Those are critical points. I will want to merge that one into the previous dialogue about climate change. Here, let me just do that real quickly. Exit here, go up to where climate change was. That was we had environmental challenges, including climate change, but I'm going to put this one into the list separately because it did sound quite distinct. So this becomes number 16 on this list. Real quickly, going down, I'm down to BRAVE. Urbanization will rise from 56% to 67% between 2020 and 2040, with sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia contributing nearly 50% and 33% respectively of the increase in poor country urbanization. Critical point: global fragmentation. The world will become increasingly fragmented and communities divided along established and newly prominent identities, states struggling to meet the needs of more connected urban and empowered populations, and the international system becoming more competitive and at greater risk of conflict. And that reminds us of the book by Samuel P. Huntington, The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order. You've heard us talk about that book so many times here on LNB Radio. And here is the book. The book is entitled The Clash of Civilizations. Here, let me just show you this The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order by Samuel P. Huntington. Cannot overemphasize the importance of this book for us comprehending global affairs. Just real quickly, does a double check in. Do I see anybody talking to me today? I know you're there. I do see Nana Kwame is in the house. He says, I don't believe that most people grasp the implication of the escalations or the associated dangers. I do agree. He said earlier, he writes, the global superpowers are probing each other's strengths and weaknesses via proxy wars that are being waged in the Middle East and Asia. Yeah, I did read that earlier. And I think you're right, Nana Kwame. My listening audience, I'm going to make a presumption, is a bit more savvy to just be listening to alternative voices like the ones that we share here on Alibi Radio. I mean, we've been sharing alternative voices all morning long. Gary Null, Covert Action Bulletin. We shared Jimmy Dore and others. These are alternative perspectives and analyses. And I'm honored and I'm proud to be able to do this. But I do agree with you that most people are unfortunately kind of trapped in the mundane activities of fighting against the encroachment of these corporations into our lives, into our pocketbooks, into our family affairs, into our personal security. We're going to do the best we can. I'm doing the best we can. I have picked one particular field, and that is natural health, as a place to make a stand, to make a tremendous stand and make a tremendous impact. But as you know, Nana Kwame, a lot of people don't seem to care enough to care. If you understand what I'm talking about. He throws up his fist. Yes, la lucha continua. The struggle continues, dear brother. Our struggle continues in our generation. If we do it right, our children will not only continue the struggle, but they'll be rising ever, ever closer towards the vision of an ideal, optimized, Ma'at, justice-based planet. This beautiful water-covered pearl floating through the solar system of the Milky Way galaxy we call Mother Earth. This planet is so stunningly beautiful when viewed from the surface of the moon. So incredibly beautiful. It's kind of hard to believe that as you come closer and closer to this beautiful water-covered pearl of a planet, that mankind exhibits such incredible cruelty so as to fly sniper drones over a recently bombed out neighborhood to shoot people in the head, shoot them dead. Sniper drones. It's happening right now. We did see that within the last 24 hours, the International Court of Justice issued arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, and his former Deputy Defense Department head. But that's not enough. You and I know the U.S. and NATO countries are only going to shield him, despite flying sniper drones against civilians. How sad it is. Let's continue. Technological disruption, the pace and impact of technology will increase, with the Internet of Things, IoT, projected to reach 64 billion devices by 2025, and possibly many trillions by 2040. This will bring both efficiencies and challenges, including the need for workers and talent. That is a very important point. We already do have one of our 16 points now was on technology advancements. And let me insert that one right into that paragraph as well. Again, we're reading from Brave-related urbanization. We talked about that, Urban Rise. And that's an important point too. Let me copy, cut, and paste that. Usually I do all this copy, cutting, pasting, and editing earlier in the show, so you don't have to listen to me do this in real time. But I just ran out of time this morning. Didn't run out of time. I just used up my spare moments before the show. A couple more points they pointed out. Um, Global fragmentation, the world becoming increasingly fragmented with communities divided along established and prominent identities and newly prominent identities, states struggling to meet the needs of more connected urban and empowered populations. We talked about this one, for which I recommended we understand the book by Samuel P. Huntington. The book is entitled The Clash of Civilizations and the Remaking of World Order. Very, very important book. So let me just put this one in, number 17. And did we get everything in? Geoengineering, that's a very important point. Economic inequality, we talked about that earlier. Conflict risk, this is ongoing. So much of what we talked about that highlights the importance of conflict risks. Adaptation challenges, uncertainty and scenarios, so-called black swans. That's another very important point that needs to be on our priority list, number 18 now. So that takes us through this list of 18 priorities and challenges that are relative to this report, Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. These revelations highlight the complexity and uncertainty of the future world in 2040, highlighting and bear with me here, I'm copying, cutting, pasting, and mixing these together. And highlighting the interconnectedness of various global issues. These revelations, okay, I've already been merging this stuff together, and emphasizing the need for policymakers and citizens to prepare for a contested and uncertain future. Let me read that all together since I was literally editing it as I was reading it before. I edited 3 different excerpts together. These revelations underscore the complexity and uncertainty of the future world in 2040, highlighting the interconnectedness of various global issues, emphasizing the need for policymakers and citizens to prepare for a more contested, uncertain future. And there, we got through that. Now that's going to make a pretty good foundation for a chapter. And that's what we do. That's how we do what we do when we do what we do when we're doing in the sunshine. Y'all didn't think I knew Roy Ayers. I got a chance to meet Roy Ayers on 2 occasions. What a classy man. Because everybody loves the sunshine. I've got a few more minutes. And I was looking at this report, and I'm going to pull this report back up. The report, Global Trends 2040, A More Contested World. And what I'm going to do right now, bear with me, I'm going to find in this report, find Indonesia. And it found 9 instances of Indonesia in the report, one of which it pulled up is a chart. I don't want to look at the chart right now. Let's go find, because I want to talk about Indonesia's impact in global affairs. So bear with me here. Indonesia, that's what I'm looking for. Indonesia. And it's just finding Indonesia in charts. I'm looking for written text. Okay, here is, I think, what I'm looking for now. How can I view this so that everyone can see it, let me just read it myself. I'm going to open this page up, increase the size, and this is on page 60 of this report. Increase the size. Do. Here we go. And we're talking about the impact of Indonesia in the world. The faster economic growth in Asia could lead to some of the most populous countries being among the world's largest economies by 2040. For example, faster economic growth in India, on track to be the most populous country by 2027. India is now, today, 2024, the most populous nation in the world. Could propel India into the ranks of the world's 3 largest economies. Similarly, faster growth in Indonesia, the world's 4th most populous country, could allow it to break into the ranks of the top 10 economies by 2040. However, their standards of living or per capita GDP are likely to remain well below those of advanced countries. That's a good point. You know, when the subject of BRICS first arose, there was another group, and again, BRICS did not name itself. It did not identify itself. BRICS was actually named and identified by the Western security planners and I would say, Western security and economic paranoia gave BRICS its identity. BRICS stood for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Later, South Africa was added to BRIC. Once they formalized themselves, they then started adding members, of which they added South Africa, United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran. And they recently just added another 9, or it might have been 14. I think it was another 14 partners, BRICS plus partners, which is an interim stage of being full-fledged members. Once they become partners, then they make certain economic pledges. They put up a certain amount of money for the BRICS Development Bank, and they proceed to moving forward toward this collaboration cooperation. But there was a second group that the Western security paranoia group announced. Instead of just BRIC, B-R-I-C, they announced MINT. MINT is an acronym standing for Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. Now, as we look at the expansion of BRICS Plus, NATO didn't reach out to Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. Not directly. They did function in the G20. But BRICS Plus has reached out to them and say, we want further collaboration, cooperation, and development, mutual development with you. Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. Nigeria is one of the countries recently added to BRICS Plus as a partner country, Nigeria. They reached out to them. I don't know if Nigeria has agreed to that. Nigeria has some pretty serious domestic governance challenges right now. Those of you who listen to the show regularly, the question came up 2 days ago. Is the president of Nigeria, Tinubu, I think what's his name, Boko Tinubu, is he currently a CIA asset? And Queen Mother Kashiba brought that question to my attention and to our attention, for which we're very grateful. And looking at the details of it, I said, well, it could very well likely be that he was drafted as a CIA asset a couple of decades ago when he was busted and had over $460,000, I believe it was, confiscated from him because of suspected drug trafficking activity. So that could very well likely have been. They may have taken the money and said, well, hey, we're going to take this money, but we're going to keep you out of jail if you cooperate. So who knows? That question is on the table. President of Nigeria, Tinubu. And we're looking at Indonesia. I'm telling you, everybody, Mint, Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, Turkey. Turkey becoming a major player and predicted by many to want to jump ship, leave NATO, and become a member of the BRICS plus expanded group of nations. And if Turkey joins Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, they're going to put Turkey's name in that acronym, BRICS or whatever, however it's going to fit in there. Because Turkey is a pretty significant player as the logical inheritor and the remnant of the former powerful Ottoman Empire, which was an Islamic empire that came close to conquering Europe during the 19th century. So I'm looking once again if I can find any more references to Indonesia, so that more of us will start to think about Indonesia in this context. Selected worldwide religious commitment, prayer, and wealth. Indonesia is the most populous Islamic nation in the world. I'm looking at a chart that says selected worldwide religious commitment, prayer, and wealth reveals an inverse correlation between religiosity as measured by the percent of adults who say they pray daily and per capita income. So Nigeria here is at the top of this chart. The higher percentage of people who are hyper religious but low level of per capita GDP development. Nigeria at the highest, followed by Iran, and number 3 on the list, Indonesia. And meanwhile, on the other end of this, the very lowest number of people claiming hyper-religiosity are Japan, Chile, Mexico, South Africa, United States. So, there is a inverse relationship, people. For those of you in my listening audience, I don't think I have a lot of hyper-religious fundamentalists in my listening audience. You probably got turned off from me many years ago when I started citing quotes from J.A. Rogers and Booker T. Washington and others talking about the impact of hyper-religiosity. This formula in this teacup right now is boosting my stem cell activity every minute of every hour of every day of every year. My body produces 300 million new cells. Stem cells are core to that. So what I put in this cup, two green tea bags, coconut oil, turmeric, cayenne, ginger, cinnamon, and just a little bit of turbinado gives me energy from the turbinado, the not complex carbohydrate. It's not refined because it's just evaporated cane juice. So it would be complex carbohydrates. But this is fuel for stem cells, y'all. Y'all look at me and y'all say, dang, Keely, you don't look like you're close to 70 years old. I just turned 69 a few months ago. But I do feel quite vigorous, and beginning on December 1, which is just about 10 days away now. Beginning on December 1, a group of you are going to join me, and we're going to do 56 days, 2 full lunar cycles of a stem cell protocol intended to activate, proliferate, and differentiate stem cells. This is a miracle. At this point, I'll say if you have almost any disorder and or disease, whether it be metabolic disorders, threats of cancer or risk of cancer, or you're afraid of developing cancer, cardiovascular disease, overweight, obesity, macular degeneration. Hey, listen, people, with the protocol I'm going to be doing on stem cells, if you wear glasses, you may want to join us on December 1st for a 56-day protocol, and take your glasses off. I used to wear reading glasses. I got a pair around here. I use them for tiny, tiny print. Like you get instructions to put something together and the print's so small. It's like, how do they expect me to follow these instructions? I was nearsighted and I couldn't get that close to the text and still focus my eyes. I used to wear reading glasses. If I pulled a book off the shelf, if it was 12 point or less in font or tight, I'd have to pull out reading glasses. I don't do that anymore. Because when I went raw vegan superfood in 2010, within 2 months, I noticed I'm not using reading glasses anymore. In fact, I needed them for a magnifying effect on something that was extremely small. And I looked and I looked, and I couldn't find my reading glasses anymore. Now I've gotten another pair. But if you wear glasses, macular degeneration, guess what? Stem cells got your back. And we're not going to be charging you $2,501. We're not going to be charging you $5,000. We're not going to be charging you $7,500, $10,000, $20,000, $25,000, $50,000, $127,000 for stem cell therapy for sickle cell. We're not going to be charging you that. I'm going to teach you that your body was designed to do this for itself. This is the most radical breakthrough in holistic medicine, natural medicine, maybe of the generation. I'm not the only one aware of this. I'm going to share with you some other scholars that are doing this research on natural activation, proliferation, and differentiation of stem cells. This is a miracle, people. And guess what? Mass media, allopathic medicine, TV commercials for drugs, they're hiding all this. They do not want you to know that your body has an advanced capacity for self-repair, rejuvenation, revitalization. They don't want you to know that you should expect to be living significantly past 100 years from this point, from today on. And some of you from today on are in your 50s and your 60s and your 70s with one foot in the grave. You're not supposed to find out the big secret. I'm going to give away the secret. I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to invite you to join a class. Let me just begin to wrap it up. Lastly, I'm going to go back to this report entitled Global Trends 2040, A More Contested World. We're still validating Indonesia. A couple more references about Indonesia. Next reference comes up under the chapter title, Regional Powers Seeking Greater Influence. In this competitive environment, regional powers such as Australia, Brazil, Indonesia, Iran, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the United Arab Emirates. Oops, didn't they just name the BRICS Plus expansion? Yes, they did. Will probably seek to take advantage of new opportunities and to take on roles previously filled by a major power, U.S. declining empire, to shore up regional stability or gain influence. This mix of regional powers seeking greater roles and influence is likely to change during the next 2 decades. Since the report was out, BRICS Plus has filled in and is this change they're predicting, reflecting opportunities as well as the changing capabilities and leadership goals of various states. Regional powers probably will try to play major powers off each other to maximize rewards while attempting to avoid being drawn into unwanted conflicts. And isn't it true that the major powers have always played regional powers off against each other? So now it's coming full circle. They may seek to build their own coalitions, BRICS Plus, or strengthen regional blocs, BRICS Plus, to project influence and in some cases collaborate on global challenges, but in other cases they may act more aggressively in conflicts in their region. Overcoming domestic governance challenges, recovering quickly from the pandemic and other shocks, and managing relationships with neighbors will be crucial for converting their key strengths and to increase influence. Some probably will play crucial roles in tackling challenges at the regional level, including non-state actor security threats, terrorism, mass migration, and digital privacy. Whoa. This is what looking over the horizon. This is what scientific futurism is about. And again, I'm excerpting from a 156-page book, Global Trends 2040, A More Contested World. Couple more references to Indonesia while we're on it. Technological success fostered widely perceived new view among emerging and developing countries that democracies were more adaptable and resilient and better able to cope with growing global challenges. Years of unfulfilled Chinese promises also pushed some of the most populous countries, including Brazil, Indonesia, India, and Nigeria, to fully embrace transparent democracy. The rapid diffusion of advanced technologies to developing countries enabled faster than expected improvements in education and jobs skills, building on remote learning platforms developed during the pandemic. With China's rise no longer seen as inevitable, China has continued to rise since this report was listed. Now China is a leading economy in the world in purchasing power parity, PPP. With China's rise no longer seen as inevitable, leading states and investors turn to more rapidly growing economies with robust private sectors and innovation systems. And all meritorious, I do agree. Again, this report put out by the U.S. National Intelligence Council, so we can understand there's a significant bias. Another part of this same report, they're talking about East Asia and Pacific, the 5 largest cities by population in 2035, insofar as millions. Number 1, this is in Asia. Number 1, Manila, Philippines at 18.6. Again, this is 10 years from now. Number 2, Jakarta, Indonesia at 13.7 million. Number 3, Bangkok, Thailand at 12.7 million. Number 4, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam at 12.2 million. And number 5, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia at 10.5 million population. So these are what I call mega cities. And that's in Asia, East Asia and Pacific. East Asia, I'm looking 5 largest cities in the world. Japan, this is in 2035, 10 years from now. Japan, Tokyo, Japan, 36 million people. Shanghai, China, 34.3 million. Beijing, China, 25.4 million. Chongqing, China, I don't know, my Chinese may not be so great. Chongqing, China, 20.5 million. And Osaka metropolitan area at 18.3 million. So, 10 years from now, the 5 largest cities in the world, I think these are in the world, let me just verify this. No, this is still East Asia and Pacific. This is in Northern Asia. Will be the 5 largest in there will be Japan and China. This is real interesting. They're going into a lot. I mean, I guess a 156-page report. Let's go back. Any more references to Indonesia? And the last reference to Indonesia is in just a reference to different parts of the world, different countries. The world selected regions and countries, including Latin America and the Caribbean, Europe, Russia and Eurasia, Middle East and North Africa. They keep separating North Africa from Africa. They call it the Middle East, which is actually a misnomer. The Middle East is Western Asia, or what used to be called the Oriental. And Northern Africa, I call it Mediterranean states, but it's also connected to Sub-Saharan Africa, which is the largest collection of countries in Sub-Saharan Africa of these different regions. South Asia, East Asia and Pacific, which is divided into Northeast Asia, Southeast Asia, and Oceania, which is across the Pacific region. And how many people knew that of all the ethnic groups in the world, the number one ethnic group, including all of its diaspora populations, is African people in the world? It's not a country like India, number one, or China, number two, United States, number three, Indonesia, number four, but it is a collective of people. When we look at the book Clash of Civilizations, it's really about culture and civilization that unite people potentially. But as you and I know, unfortunately, Africans are not as united as could, would, should be in order to encompass the level of power that is our true potential. I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank you, my brother Craig, aka Nana Kwame, for your contributions to the show today. Just double checking, nobody, not one person in my Rumble family, our Rumble family, said not a word today. I did see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people hit the like button. We're going to do better. We are going to do better. Lastly, let me just put up a link to, stop this screen, put up a link to that report that I was reading from. This is the PDF from Global Trends 2040, a more contested world. And I do see you in the house today, beloved sister from UK for Africa One, Hetep Brother Kidi, and Global LB family. Late runnings will catch the beginning of this interesting show. Yeah, I think you're going to like this one. I know you like everything we do around here, beloved, because we reflect your core values. And it's an honor and a pleasure for me to know that persons like yourself and your core values are being represented in what we do here at LIB Radio. This is your LIB Radio family, your People's University. To get the report, this report, use the following link. And here is the link. And I post that up for the Rumble family. I post that up for the YouTube family. And I'm going to post that up one more time for my Facebook family. To get this report, use this link. And can I get this up also for my YouNow family? I think I can. Let me just see if I can grab, cut, and paste this. For YouNow family, to get this report, use the following link. And I see you in the house. Paul Turk Stew fam is in the house. We're great to have you with us. I see you in the house. Ethnic Dreams, so consistent. I really appreciate you. Little Joe Said So is in the house. And we're talking about, to get this report, I may have to do this a second time. Nope, I got it. For our different houses, our different families. What an honor, what a joy, what a pleasure it is to be with you. People of like mind, people who collaborate, cooperate, people with dignity and class. We've got a long way to go. We're not going to lose this battle, because this battle is for the life of this very planet. If we do not stand up and assert our people power, then these crazies, these insane governance, these madmen, for the most part men, but you got your Madeleine Albrights and your other queens of war, including Kamala Harris, a queen of war, is mad women in the background, Hillary Clinton, genocidaires. Yes, they are. They do exist. So these madmen, these mad women, they are so crazy that they say, if I can't have it, I will destroy it all. And they call others terrorists. And lastly, you did see that link. I shared the link, and I want you to follow through for that link, everybody. The link that said Israel is using, where's the link? Let me find it. Israel is using sniper drones. Witnesses say Israel is using sniper drones in Gaza, and they are shooting civilians. So We've got a lot of work to do, people. We got a lot of work to do. Never stop believing in our capacity to carry forward the human spirit. Never stop believing in your and my capacity to build creative links for a sustainable future. Once again, before I leave, we're talking about the Stem Cell Rejuvenation course with Coach Keaty begins December 1st, 2024. I'm going to push up this link right now. Actually, I'm going to push it in at the end of today's program. I'm going to push it up on the streams in the comments section, so I'll be able to get the whole thing in there. I can push it up on my Facebook page right now. This is Stem Cell Rejuvenation Course, 56-day program, guided regimen. Includes 3 course textbooks, Living Superfood Life, Living Superfood Longevity, and Living Superfood Recipes Volume 2. You're going to learn key principles of regenerative biology. We're going to detoxify during this course, detoxify the body and the environment. We got to remove the heavy metals. Heavy metals impact the validation of stem cells and chromosomal integrity, DNA integrity. There'll be a focused approach on epigenetic processes and functional medicine, dietary guidelines for optimizing stem cell proliferation. I went shopping for groceries yesterday, and I have already started moving into this. As I looked at my cart and when I unloaded everything, I'm really making right now a significant shift back to close to 97% raw vegan superfoods. We'll be talking, I have created, I'm going to share with you a proprietary formula, a smoothie for a daily rejuvenation of your stem cells. This smoothie, I'm going to be drinking it daily for 56 days. I may be, when all of this is done, you may look at me and say, damn, Keaty, you know you just turned 22 years old again. I weighed myself this morning, and according to my weight, my body mass index, I am 28 years old. I weigh what I weighed when I weigh what I weighed when I'm weighing at age 28. I do what I do and I do what I do and I'm doing in the sunshine. We will also be talking about natural means. This is all natural. This is not drug therapy. This is not, well, it does have herbal components and nutritional supplements. Nootropics are a major part of this protocol, and I'm going to share those with you as well. But it's not about this, not medicine, it's not drug therapy. No, this is natural, nutrition-based, nature-based. It includes exercise. It includes sunshine, all natural items. We'll talk about 2 natural means of activating 2 types of stem cells. Those are bone marrow-derived mesenchymal stem cells, and they are also adipose tissue-derived stem cells. So you'll get supplementation list that builds natural holistic stem cell development, includes a guided 3-day water fast jumpstart. You want to jumpstart your stem cell activation, proliferation, and differentiation? A 3-day water fast jumpstarts it. By the end of the 3rd day, your stem cell activity is racing. 3-day water fast. A lot of people say, oh, I could never do that. I say, you have to do it. You have to do it. There's no choice here. The only choice is you're going to continue down this pathway where everyone around you is dying prematurely. And that means you too. By the point we reached right now, where more than 2 of every 5 Americans will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. If you don't want that cancer diagnosis, you're going to have a program to prevent it. If the odds are 2 out of 5, and you flip the coin 5 times, and that 2 of those times it came up cancer. We cannot take that risk. Period. So it also includes a weekly Zoom webinar. It also includes a 1/2-hour one-on-one consultation with Chef Keaty, Coach Keaty. This is Coach Keaty here. Unless you need Chef Keaty, I got you. It also includes continuous peer-to-peer support via WhatsApp. And I've been threatening to do this, probably will get back into the habit of setting up my Zoom recorder, not Zoom, what's it called? My, what's my recorder? It's not a Zoom recorder. It's my little, what is it called? Doggone it. I have it. It's over here in the box. But it's a little tiny recorder. Records excellent, excellent, excellent. My Hero recorder. I'll set up my Hero recorder, put it in the kitchen, and in fact, maybe I'll do that today because I bought a whole bunch of food and I'm about to get in there and get alive with it. So this is going to be included. We're going to make this journey. This is a field trial of a proprietary program I first developed in March 2021, where I took 56 days and rejuvenated myself. Many of you have seen the before and after picture, and it's really quite dramatic. This time it's going to be even more dramatic because that was 3 years ago. I'm 3 years younger now. And I'm going to be very, very strict on this, including very strict on how I take the before photograph and how I take the after photograph. I'm going to be very strict. And I want you who collaborate with this. We've already got 2 people who have signed on to it. I want you to join us. I hope someday you will join us and the world will be at one. At least our bioregenerative capacity, bioregeneration will be functioning the best that it's ever functioned in our adult life. That's what a 56-day stem cell protocol is all about. I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. So what I'm going to do, I put this up on my Facebook page. I'm going to put it up under today's broadcast, as well as post it up, just the links for those of you who are in the other families here. Let me just post up this stem cell rejuvenation begins on December 21st. Now, I keep telling you this, 56-day guided regimen includes the course textbooks, etc., etc., etc. And here is a description of it. And here there are 2 links. You can make one single payment of $299, or you can make it in 2 monthly payments of $159.99. So, it's almost the same. I know it's a little challenging right now for a lot of us who are unfortunately have stressed out budgets. But I will say this much, even worse is being sick. Even worse, much, much worse is being sick. And quite simply, we can't risk that. So that was the payment for one single payment. Let me give you the payment for 2 monthly payments here, because they did not all fit on one line there. And you can always text me, 702-580-0662 for more information. Text me for more info on the stem cell rejuvenation program. And that is 702-580-0662. Or if there's any health problem that you are dealing with, I'd love to hear from you, love to know what I can do, what we can do to help each other move forward. And on that note, we are out of here for today. Much gratitude to each and every one of you. On your favorite, we aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Whew, boy. This is a very energetic program for me today. I've already started this protocol and my energy level is rising pretty rapidly. And that's a good thing. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. So, quick, switch over to the bumper music takes us out of the show for today. Appreciate love you in the house. I especially thank you to all of you who do help support what we do. You hit the like button, you tell your friends, you tell your family, you share the information, you get excited about the things that energize and electrify your world, our collective world. We are LIB Radio. We are livinginblack.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.